Well, it's 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order for October 16th, 2018. If Phil Higgins can do the invocation, please.
Let us pray. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, God, we come to you, Lord, thanking you this for another day. Thank you for all the blessings of life that you've granted us, God. Thank you for just the privilege of living in such a great community, Lord. And just I pray, Lord, that you'd bless everybody who's took an interest in the community and has come out to monitor the business of our community and to make our town better, Lord. And I just pray that you would grant us the wisdom and knowledge that we need to make wise decisions on behalf of our city and our community as a whole, Lord. Now go with us the rest of this day. Grant us traveling graces home tonight. These favors and blessings we ask in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. If everyone will join me with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is considering the agenda for adoption. We've got 2 items to add. The first would be under new business, item A, planning and zoning. The addition would be a number 2, annexation number 2018-313 for Automation Direct. And the second item to add would be under new business, item D, streets. Number 1, report of quotes for resurfacing West Courthouse Square.
I make a move that we add those 2 things.
We've got a motion.
Excuse me, Mayor, before you move on to that item number that added on the annexation is 319, 2018319.
What,
313.
oh, I'm sorry, 319. It's 2 different, there's 2, that's the, it got kind of overlooked.
Second the move.
Please vote. Carries 5-0, thank you. Next on the agenda is adopting the following meeting minutes. A, work session from the meeting October 2nd, 2018. Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Second, please vote. Carries 5-0. Next is item B, executive session meeting of October 2nd, 2018. Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Second, please vote. Carries 5-0. Next is item 6, acknowledgements, proclamations, and resolutions. We have several tonight. The first is Prematurity Awareness Day for the March of Dimes. Because we have 3 long ones, I'm going to abbreviate just a little bit. Whereas the March of Dimes Foundation is a pioneer in improving the health of infants and women of childbearing age by preventing birth defects, premature birth, and infant mortality. And whereas the March of Dimes in 2003 launched the Prematurity Campaign to address the crisis, premature birth, and help families have full-term healthy babies. I, Troy Brumbelow, Mayor of the City of Cumming, do hereby extend special recognition to the March of Dimes of Georgia and declare November the 17th as Prematurity Awareness Day. Do we have someone here? Next is Domestic Violence Awareness Month from Forsyth County Family Haven. every 15 seconds, a woman is battered in the United States by her husband or partner. And every day, 4 battered women are killed in the United States. In homes where spousal abuse occurs, children are abused at a rate of 1,500% higher than the national average. Approximately 6,022 women and children sought safe shelter and other services from domestic violence shelters during the past year. Approximately 5,226 victims and their dependent children of Forsyth County received crisis intervention and advocacy services from Forsyth County Family Haven, Inc. during the past year. So I, Troy Brumbelow, Mayor of the City of Cumming, do hereby set my hand the 16th day of October 2018 and declare October 2018 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the City of Cumming. And last but certainly not least is Family Promise Week. Whereas in October 2016, Family Promise of Forsyth County began operations dedicated to helping the most vulnerable among us, children and families who are temporarily homeless. And whereas Family Promise of Forsyth County partners with numerous congregations of our area's faith community, which provide a safe place to stay, healthy meals, volunteer support for guest families, thereby making a real difference in the lives of their neighbors in need. And whereas believing that every child deserves a home, Family Promise of Forsyth County and its more than 400 volunteers empower families in making their transition from homelessness to sustainable independence. Whereas over the past 2 years, Family Promise has served more than 23 families, creating stability for over 50 children while working with their parents to achieve sustainable independence. Now I, Troy Brumbelow, Mayor of the City of Cumming, do hereby proclaim the week of October 21st to 27th, 2018 as Family Promise Week. Next is item 7, old business, planning and zoning. Number 1, amendment to zoning ordinance.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This is something that we discussed at your last work session. It is a zoning ordinance amendment, the purpose of which is to restrict the use of metal buildings in the commercial areas of the city. We already have a restriction on temporary buildings and manufactured homes being used for anything longer than in excess of 6 months. This expands that to include metal buildings, think metal carports, metal sheds, and that sort of thing. There are two exceptions that were drafted for it. One was for anytime you have already approved or approved in the future a mini storage facility. Those are obviously going to use metal buildings, as they mostly do, for that purpose. And so that's one exception to it. The other exception is in residential areas. It doesn't apply to residentially zoned lots for uses on there. So, for example, if someone wanted to have a metal carport or a shed to put their lawnmower in, they're not impacted by this change to the zoning ordinance. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but that's what this zoning ordinance amendment accomplishes.
Have any questions or discussion? I have a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the amendment to the zoning ordinance.
Second.
Please vote. Carries 5-0. Thank you. Next is an amendment to the sign ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is an amendment to your sign ordinance that accomplishes two things. One, generally in your sign ordinance, you have a prohibition for banners so that we can't have a bunch of banners shooting all around the city and being hung up. The first thing that this sign ordinance amendment does, it allows banners to be hung on public property that is used for athletic purposes. So think Central's ball fields up here, the ball fields out at Dobbs Creek. You can still have banners hanging up for people who are supporting our local sports teams that they'll place on the fences and that sort of thing, so long as they do have to be maintained in good condition. The second thing this sign ordinance amendment does is it removes from the sign ordinance the weekend sign provision, which was a special provision that people could use to get permission from property owners to put up certain signs between certain hours on the weekends. This actually just removes that provision so that all signs have to comply with the general terms of the sign ordinance, no matter what day of the week it is. Again, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But that's what the amendments to your sign ordinance take care of.
Do I have any questions or discussion? I have a motion to approve.
A motion to approve the sign ordinance.
Second.
Please vote. Carries 5-0. Thank you. Next is number 3, impact fees.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is not going to be right for consideration tonight. We are still waiting to hear back from the Georgia Department of Community Affairs on the approving your capital improvement element. You'll recall we did that several months ago. Your staff received an inquiry from the Department of Community Affairs to provide more information. Scott immediately turned around and got that information from Duncan and Associates and provided it to the Department of Community Affairs. And we're still waiting to hear back from them. And I know Scott has been following up with the Georgia Mountains Regional Commission, which is our local liaison to the Department of Community Affairs, to try and get that. Just to kind of give you a heads up as to where we're going, because we can't go forward with impact fees tonight, your moratorium on building and development runs out on November 6th. To make sure that you were covered in the event this might happen, we have already advertised for both impact fees if we could go forward with that, but we also advertised for the possibility we may have to extend the moratorium for a little bit. We're going to continue to work with the DCA over the next couple of weeks to figure out what the holdup is and try and get that capital improvement element issued, but we will need to extend the moratorium if you decide to do so at your next meeting. But procedurally, under the Zoning Procedures Act, you're good for that. We're all ready to go. So that's been taken care of.
Thank you, Kevin. Next is item B, administration, revise animal control ordinance.
This is also something, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we discussed at your work session. Forsyth County is moving to a process by which they will be using code enforcement during the day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week for the purposes of enforcing animal control, and then be turned over to the Sheriff's Department 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. all those days of the week. As part of that, and to make sure that we can still utilize our intergovernmental agreement that we already have with Forsyth County, where they administer an animal control ordinance in the city, they wanted us to make some changes to that, mainly to reflect those purposes, that we will now be using code enforcement for animal control during the day. That's what this does. This is, in essence, the same animal control ordinance that is enforced throughout the rest of Forsyth County with just a few small tweaks here and there to make it applicable to the city of Cumming. For example, we can't forbid dogs of a certain, that aren't registered from coming into Forsyth County. We have to make that for the city of Cumming, and there were lots of changes like that just to make sure that we weren't overstepping our bounds. Again, we talked about this at your work session. If you have any questions about it, I'll be happy to answer them. It complies not only with, it's also not only in line with what Forsyth County did, but we did double check it, and it's also in compliance with state law as well, especially when it comes to vicious dogs and animals and the classification of those. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Do we already have an animal control board?
We do not have an animal control board, and the animal control board that is utilized by the city is the one that the county has, and we have made sure that in this, we're going to maintain that. It will be the Forsyth County Animal Control Board. Last time I had to go in front of them, I remember Dr. Magruder being on there, but I don't remember who else was on it. I'm not sure if he's still on it or not, but in any event, we will be using that animal control board still going forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? I have a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Please vote. Carries 5-0. Item C, utilities, revision to nuisance ordinance for odors.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is another topic we discussed at the work session. I like how the work session, Mayor, is working out like you planned for it to. We can discuss these things and get them taken care of, and then you guys are already aware of it by the time we get to your meeting. In any event, there was one change that was requested while we were at the work session. That change being to create an exemption that would make it such that we were not going to have grilling and outdoor cooking and those sorts of things be a violation. And we have included that exception in here.
Is it called the Lewis Amendment?
No, this will be the Chad Amendment, I think, so we would have to classify this one. I'm actually looking for where we put that, that exception, so I could point it out to you. H2, there it is. I got cut off. Oh, no odor shall be declared a nuisance if that odor emanates from food preparation in residential areas, including outdoor cooking such as grilling. That was the exception that was made so that we didn't run afoul of anyone's weekend barbecues before football games or anything like that. Other than that, it's the same one that you've already reviewed and considered at your last meeting. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions or discussion? I have a motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Second, please vote. Passes 5-0, and Chad is clear in the grilling department. Next is D, police. Number 1, IGA with Forsyth County, GCIC, and dispatch.
So this is actually going to be two different intergovernmental agreements. We discussed these at the work session, and the purpose of these IGAs is to, the one that deals with GCIC, is to allow Forsyth County to handle the GCIC inquiries of the city of Cumming. The city of Cumming will still maintain its terminal for verification purposes as well as certification. We're training people who are going to be able to use GCIC. But Forsyth County will be taking over as part of a larger working together with the county for handling dispatch, both emergency and non-emergency dispatch services. What we need is not the approval of any of the exhibits. The exhibits to the GCIC agreement are something actually that can be worked out between the chief and the sheriff in terms of the actual protocols for how this is going to be handled, the sharing of information between the agencies pursuant to GCIC and the GBI's regulations. What we do need approval for, though, is the first part of the agreement that concerns, it's entitled an Intergovernmental Agreement Concerning the Georgia Crime Information Center Criminal Justice Information Systems Holder of Record Agreement between the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, Georgia, and the City of Cumming, Georgia. I will mention this does include our municipal court. There was a question about that, and the municipal court is included in this for warrant purposes. And then the second agreement that we'll need your approval on is the City of Cumming, Forsyth County Intergovernmental Agreement for the Provision of Law Enforcement Communication Services. This is the one you may remember we discussed where the Sheriff's Office, actually, I take that back, it's the GCIC agreement where the Sheriff's Office is requesting $5,000 a year for the handling of that information. For the one dealing with the provision of law enforcement communication services, that will all be funded through E911 fees that the county already collects, both in the unincorporated area as well as in the city. This is the one where we'll have to buy, and you've already approved the CAD system upgrade and the radios that will be necessary for us to make sure there's a seamless transition between our communications and those communications to the 911 center. Happy to answer any questions about either one of these agreements, but they are ready for your consideration tonight.
Is it pretty standard for the county to collect the fees rather than the county and the city?
What about the 911 fees?
Any fees, like, that have to do with this, yeah?
Well, like the 911 fees, we don't have a 911 center.
Center.
Like if we had City of Cumming 911 center,
Yeah,
then
they're
those
different.
revenues would go to us. But
Yeah.
since we don't, and there's really no need for it,
Right,
all that goes to them.
thank you.
So part of every phone bill goes to pay for that.
Why do we have to have an IGA to request information from like,
Because you're talking about the GCIC
Yeah.
agreement? Because GCIC, there are certain essentially licenses or permits, and I'm not using the correct term there, that are issued to the agencies. And we're going to be using the county to pull to run our criminal history records as opposed to doing it ourselves, because we're going to be using their dispatch for that purpose. So in other words, right now, if you had a City of Cumming police officer who was going to pull someone over, they would call into City of Cumming dispatch to get, to run somebody's tag or see, if there were any warrants out on them, so they know if they need to arrest this person or just issue them a ticket and let them go. Now, that's going to be done through the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office. Even though it's a City of Cumming police officer that's doing it, the Sheriff's Office is going to be handling that. That one's not, and I should mention this, but you probably already figured it out, that's not an agreement with the county, that's an agreement with the Office of the Sheriff. And it's still going to qualify those in intergovernmental agreement. His office is going to be providing that service to us instead of us duplicating that service where we provide it in the city and they provide it in the county.
Chief, is that logistically same, similar, different?
Yeah, I mean, what he said is exactly what it is. We have we run everything through our department. We're going to run it through the sheriff's office, their GCIC. It's all going to work the same. This is two different people.
Nice, okay.
It's probably a lot got to do with that accountability.
Yes.
I mean, that's where it's real touchy on what you can and can't do with GCIC, so that we're using theirs.
Somebody holds the light, yeah, it makes sense, license situation.
They are incredibly strict about that. There are all kinds of audits that are performed on the agencies that have GCIC capability, and so yes. It's
I
a
just
lot
don't
about
want it
that.
to have restrict our department from having to go through, which I guess it's not really going through we're gonna be able to get all the same information that we were before, just
That's
cutting out a
correct.
step.
The police department will and the court will. Everyone will be able to get the information they need to provide the services to the city.
Any other questions?
Two separate motions, Kevin?
It would be probably best, since we have two separate agreements, if we could have one to approve, someone can just call it the GCIC agreement, and then the second one would be to approve the dispatch agreement or the communications agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve the GCIC agreement.
Second.
Second, please vote. Carries 5-0.
We need a motion, I'll make a motion to accept the dispatch agreement. Dispatch
Yeah.
agreement, all right.
Second.
Second, please vote. Carries 5-0. Thank you. Next, under police is number 2, CAD system update.
Mayor, members of the council, last work session, I came before you and explained what was going to happen with the dispatch changeover, and that we were going to have to purchase the CAD system. That was what we were led to believe at the time, speaking with SunGuard, the company that makes the CAD system. But after meeting with county officials and them speaking with their legal department, they can just install the CAD in our system with no charge whatsoever. We will have some fees associated with maintenance and stuff like that, like you do with any other software that you got. It's divided up equally by number of units. So the $51,000 that was requested for the purchase of the CAD is no longer needed. That's the good part. It's not bad, but it's I got to purchase computers, laptop computers. The ones that we have in our car are not GPS. They don't have GPS devices in them. That's a requirement that the county has for this CAD system, is they have the GPS device and some other. They give us a spec list that we have to come up to in order to utilize this CAD system. So what I'm asking from y'all is to allow me to divert the money used that we were planning on using to purchase the CAD and purchase the laptop computers to go in the car. We have an initial quote that's the same as the county received. It's the exact same computer and everything. That's where we got the specs from. Shad is researching that to see if maybe there's some of our vendors that will actually sell that computer to us even cheaper than what the county's got quoted there. So I don't know the specific amount, but it'll be that amount or less.
How many
per
units?
computer. 12.
So that's roughly 36,000
Yes,
for computers.
versus the 51 that we were going to spend for the CAD.
75.
And this is,
Oh, because you need the phone system and interface?
The phone system's already been installed.
Okay.
And it was less than the $10,000 that we projected for that, quite a bit less. I think it's a little less than 7,000. The only thing, other part that I've got to do to this is the interface, and that was the other approximate $10,000 expense that we're going to have, but that's still in the works.
it'd still probably be around 50, 55, somewhere in that ballpark.
12 is how many you need?
Yes.
That's it, okay.
40,000.
Sorry, any other questions?
Yeah, anybody else have any questions?
Save money in the long run, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Save money from 2 weeks ago, it sounds like.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the chief to purchase up to 12 laptops with the money used from the CAD system that's no longer needed at the price presented or lower.
Okay.
And second.
Second,
second.
please vote. Carries 5-0. Thank
Thank
you. Next is new business, planning and zoning, annexation 2018-317.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This is the first of two annexation requests by Automation Direct. Who is a property owner. They've made application to first annex 1.418 acres, more or less, in the city and rezone it to restricted industrial M1. The property is more commonly identified as 3506 Hutchinson Road, and the structures on the property are currently used by Automation Direct for maintenance, shop, and storage facilities. Forsyth County has been notified of the annexation. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on the 18th September and recommended approval with the following conditions. There's actually three conditions. That Forsyth County must notify the city in writing of no objection to the proposed annexation, that should any existing buildings be demolished and or expanded, all new buildings or construction must meet the restricted industrial building setbacks and parking requirements, and then any future development of the property must be approved by the Department of Planning and Zoning. I would add, before you open for the public hearing, which you must have on this, that although we have not received a no objection letter from the county attorney's office, we do know that the county commissioners voted last week at a work session to state they have no objection to this annexation. And now, if you would, we get open for a public hearing. We have representatives here from Automation Direct and their legal counsel.
We have a motion to open the public hearing on annexation 2018-317.
So
I'll
moved.
make a motion that we
Motion and a second. Please vote.
I've got to recuse from a vote on this item.
Is there anyone who'd like to speak in favor of 2018-317?
Mayor, council members, I'm Sean Courtney on behalf of Automation Direct. They currently operate here in the city. They have a couple of remaining tracks. This is the first one. They'd like all their property to be in the city. They would appreciate if you would annex. And I'm here with George Herman. If you have any questions, please ask.
Have any questions? Have anyone else that'd like to speak in favor of? Have anyone that would like to speak in opposition of 2018-317? I have a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0 with Christopher Light abstaining. Have any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the annexation?
I'll make a motion that we approve the annexation.
Second.
Second. Please vote. Carries 4-0. Thank you very much. Next is number 2, annexation 2018-319 for Automation Direct.
Yes, sir. This is, again, the second of the two properties that Automation Direct wishes to annex into the city and rezone to restricted industrial. This is approximately 1.505 acres. The property is commonly known as 3530 Hutchinson Road. It's currently vacant. Automation Direct has no current development plans for the property. Again, Forsyth County has been notified of the proposed annexation. The Planning Commission also held a public hearing on this on September 18th and recommended the following two conditions: that Forsyth County must notify the city in writing of no objections to the proposed annexation, and any future development of the property must be approved by the Department of Planning and Zoning. Again, I would add that the County Commission voted last week on this also to have no objection to this annexation before you open the public hearing.
I have a motion. We open the public hearing for 2018-319.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Please vote. Carries 4-0 with Christopher abstaining.
Yeah, do I need to announce every item? I need to recuse potential conflict.
Do I have well, we did the public hearing. Do I have anyone that'd like to speak in favor of 2018-319?
Mayor, council members, Sean Courtney on behalf of Automation Direct. Like to annex this parcel as well. If you have any questions, please ask.
Have any questions? Have anyone else that'd like to speak in favor of? Have anyone that would like to speak in opposition to? I have a motion that we close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Second, please vote. Carries 4-0. Do I have a motion to approve 2018-319 annexation?
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
Second, please vote. Carries 4-0. Thank you very much. Next is administration. Number 1, gateway sign, Kelly Mill Road and Highway 20.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. The purpose of this item tonight is to request permission from the council to approve the installation of a gateway sign to be placed at the corner of Highway 20 and Kelly Mill Road. We currently are installing another sign that was approved a while back on Perkle Ferry Road. I have an attached quote in your packet tonight on the sign, the LED sign. It's from Lang. That's the same company that is doing the other sign for us. The quote is for $23,558.72. We still have to pay for some electrical work and stonework, so I'm requesting to be authorized to spend up to $40,000 to complete this project. and this money would come out of the 2018 capital improvement budget. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Where's this one gonna sit?
At the corner of Kelly Mill and Highway 20, it's right where we
In front of
run
the Kemp House.
Yeah,
Our right-of-way there is really large. The
Okay.
sidewalk used to be
How's-
way off the road.
it's where
Is it gonna be orient, is it
Didn't
gonna
they
be
widen
facing
the
down
sidewalk
20?
right there?
it'll be
Just moved
facing
it.
the traffic that's headed
20
eastbound.
west.
So coming into town.
Yeah, coming into town. Mhm.
Well,
Good. I think it adds to things.
What's that?
I think it adds to the city to have the gateway.
It'll be the same design and everything.
everything will be the same as the other one, which the other one will be done in a few weeks. But for us to be able to get the capital improvements part, this has to be done by the end of the year. To be able to use the capital improvement budget.
Like done or
Yeah.
money out?
complete.
Oh, wow.
So that's why we're gonna go ahead and get the ball rolling to be able to get it done this year.
Well, the sign's pretty similar, size and everything.
Exactly the
At
same.
the exact same time.
Yep, exactly the same. Have any other questions or discussion?
Get Michael Moore in gear.
Have a motion to approve.
So
Motion to
moved.
approve.
Second.
Second, please vote. Carries 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Next is item C, request to purchase patrol vehicles.
Keep in mind, I just saved you some money.
Keep in mind, you saved some money.
This is a request to purchase four 2018 Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicles, which is a police-equipped Ford Explorer, and the equipment that goes along with them. Our fleet is aging. We have vehicles from 15 years old that are still on patrol, without exceeding 100,000 miles. They need to be replaced. They're used as emergency vehicles every day. It's a liability issue and a safety issue that needs addressing, not to mention the amount of money we spend on mechanical repairs. We're exceeding the value of them every year in just mechanical bills alone on these cars to what they're worth today. The quote I have is from Brandon Motor Company at $28,800 each for the vehicle. That is state contract pricing. And from a quote for the equipment install from West Chatham Warning Devices for $34,964.20. That's a total of $150,164.20 for all four vehicles fully equipped and ready to hit the road.
Are these, I hadn't had time to read through the whole thing. Have you got light bars on top, or are they all?
They're all
Inside?
inside, interior mounted lights. It'll be the exact same vehicle as we have now, the Explorers that we have now. It'll be exactly the
I
same.
just didn't know if they had bars on top.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to read
Do
through
we
that whole
currently
list.
have?
Sir,
How many do we currently have?
we have 3 on patrol now, Explorers.
You only have one quote. Nobody else does this around?
Well, actually, I couldn't find them anywhere else in stock. This is the only place that had the 4 in stock that I needed.
And these would be purchased with the capital projects money where we would have to be able to do it by the end of the year.
Mhm.
And that number is probably the state contract
It is.
price on the vehicles.
Yeah, it's a good price. I was just wondering.
Well, them others has held up good, hadn't they?
Yes. Yes.
Is it better to have the SUVs as opposed to?
Oh, yeah, much better. The cars that they make nowadays just doesn't have enough room for what we do. Our guys do wear many hats. They're detectives, they're police officers, everything, so they have to carry more stuff and have more room. We don't have transport vans, so you get somebody as tall as you are, it's very difficult to get them in the back seat of one of these newer cars. So
Call me in a different car.
I'll keep an old Crown Vic around just for you. We have any other questions or discussion? I have a motion to approve.
Make a motion, we approve.
I second it.
Second by Linda, please vote. Carries 5-0. Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
And item D, quotes on resurfacing West Courthouse Square.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council, the purpose of this item is to report quotes we received on resurfacing West Courthouse Square. If you drive through West Courthouse Square, you can see the age of the street. It's high on our list of streets that need to be resurfaced inside the city. It even looks more so now that the state has done some paving that intersects the street. We got two quotes after, so we solicited quotes from several contractors, but we only received two quotes back, and they are from Jasper Grading at $42,404.70 and Blunt Construction at $52,276.37. It's my recommendation that we accept the low bid from Jasper Grading in the amount of $42,404.70 for completion of this project, and this project will be funded by SPLOST 7 funds. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
I'll have a question, but it'll really be for Jason. The traffic loops, I know that we have them there, but I know we don't have them at a lot of intersections, so can you explain that a little?
We mill them out. During construction, they're milled out. We'll have them replaced. We'll also put alert on whoever's maintaining the signal to let them know if the traffic loop is detected or destroyed during the milling. It'll go on to an automatic cycle until they can get the loop put in and get it restored. So
Now, I guess my question is, why do we have it there and a lot of other intersections we don't?
it's basically because when the state had these signals, that was what they put in.
Okay.
Signal.
So it's to do with their state signals?
Yes.
And exactly, does it sense the weight of the car, or does it sense tires going over it?
Magnet.
It is a little bit of both. That when the tires go over the loop, it'll alert the loop, letting the signal activate. So there's some other signal activation systems they have other than loops, but y'all have loops, and when the cars come over it and obstruct that loop, it automatically detects it on the signal and then activates the signal accordingly. So.
Gotcha.
Jason, how long will it take start to finish for this project? It's a pretty small stretch, so.
If
2 days.
2 days max, I would think.
We're just gonna let's just shut it down for 2 days. and
No,
do it.
well, what we'll probably do is when we have a pre-con meeting, we may try to do this at nighttime.
Or even better.
That would be the most, when we did Kelly Mill Road out here a couple of years ago, when we did that paving on that, we did that primarily during the night. So on this one here, we would do the same thing. So might not like it, but that's the better way to do it. If we do it during the day, they'll have them backed out at 400 if we do that. So we don't want to do that.
I guess his quote's the same at night or day.
I'm
Quote
sorry?
would be the same. I guess it would change the quote.
No, I think they run asphalt day and night. So, I mean, it's not gonna be an issue with that per se. It's just gonna be a little more, and I think the contractor in this case will be more than willing to work at night too as well.
Be good.
And then one other, it's related but not really related. Do you have an update on the resurfacing and/or restriping
I have
by the courthouse?
I have contacted GDOT. They're looking at doing the chicken striping, lane lines that you had also talked about. They're looking into doing that.
What are they looking at, repaving from the square over to 20?
They're in the process of redoing that as well. So I'm not sure. They didn't give me a timetable.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Don't
I've
have
been
a
hearing they were in the process for 6,
Yeah,
8 months.
They didn't give me a timetable
All right.
on that. So, but they are looking at the lane lines that you had talked about, and they were aware of
About,
that themselves.
so they're considering putting the lane line through the intersection.
Yes.
It needs it.
Where we're talking about, where everybody gets almost hit every day or hit. How many wrecks have y'all worked from that happening? Yeah.
Pedestrians
People are
getting hit
getting
right
better
there
at
too.
dodging.
Uh-huh.
They really are.
That was all. Thanks, Jason.
Thank
I
you.
was just curious on how those traffic loops work. We have any other questions about the resurfacing? I have a motion to approve the Jasper Graydon quote, which would be the low bid.
Make a motion, we approve the low bid.
Second.
Please vote. Carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Next is announcements, upcoming Playhouse shows. Annie is from October the 19th through November the 11th at 8 o'clock Thursdays through Saturdays and 3 p.m. on Sundays. Upcoming fairground events, we have our last Friday at the fairgrounds this Friday from 5 to 10. Have we got the candy purchased for the trunk or treat? Jeff's the candy man? We need a bunch of it. So it's going to be a trunk or treat for kids as well. Then the following day, and to mention on number one, the sheriff's office is going to participate with us as well on our trunk or treat Friday at the fairground event. And then the next day, for South County Fire Department, along with the sheriff's office, I believe, are doing a trunk or treat. So from 6 to 9. That's it, except for executive session for pending and threatening litigation. I have a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Second, please vote. Carries 5-0. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Second.
Second.
Executive, we just go back to open. Open this one. Gotcha. Do I have a motion that we adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Oh, hang on.
Linda didn't vote on this one.
We opened up.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Get it?